Welcome to Higher Self Mastery, the podcast for women ready to leave behind who they were told to be and remember who they truly are. I'm your host, Dami Schumacher. This is your space to come home to yourself, to honor the inner pull for more truth and more depth, and more meaning as you enter a new chapter of your life. Together, we're reframing midlife crisis into the midlife magic that it actually is, because this is your rebirth. Through soulful conversations and spiritual tools, you'll reconnect to your truth and reclaim your voice and live the life that your soul came here for. So let's begin. Hello and welcome back to another episode. Thank you so much for joining me. So this week's going to be a little bit different in that I don't have a particular topic that I want to talk about or share with you, but more so I want to share with you my own personal journey and story and experience. Something that I navigated just recently, again, not the first time I've visited this, but when I came to the conclusion so far, it occurred to me that this is something that a lot of people would benefit from hearing for multiple reasons. Because one, I'm not unique or isolated in this experience, and so many of you out there that are navigating your own challenges and rewriting your own stories will be encountering and experiencing this in your own way as well. And perhaps you'll appreciate hearing my version of the story and not only be able to relate to it, but then also be able to reframe how you move forward with it. And also, I think when we are new to this world of spiritual development, personal development, it can be so easy when we're tuning into these podcasts sometimes to just listen to the speaker and feel like they've got it all figured out, and that there's such a big gap between maybe where you are, because this is new to you and you're just beginning this journey, and perhaps where they are. Now, that might be true in terms of length of experience, but what I want to highlight by the end of this episode is that actually you have more in common than you realize, and that the person you're looking up to or listening to and learning from don't necessarily have it figured out, but that they are on their own journey and walking this path too. And I think that's really important, because I don't want anybody to put any kind of coach or teacher or leader up on a pedestal. It's a mistake that I've made in the past, and I think it's something that I can fall into, especially when I've discovered somebody new and I'm captivated by what they say and their energy, and I'm just like so hungry to learn more from them, and things that they've said have really landed deep for me, and they feel so insightful, and I'm just like, wow, this person knows so much. I've got so much to learn from them, and you just want to lap it all up, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, it's easy to then put that person up on a pedestal. But that's the part that's not right, because we are in fact all equal. There is not this hierarchy. There are just personal journeys, and we're all at different stages of this journey. And it's not a linear journey, right? So that's what you're going to hear in a moment when I share my story, is that this work that I recently unpacked, actually just the other day, that's why it's so fresh in my mind. And I thought, yeah, I want to share this while it is still so raw and at the forefront of my mind. It's not the first time I've tried to unpack it, and I've unpacked it many, many, many times before, but from different angles, different perspectives. And it won't be the last time. It will come up because it is such a deep core wound. And the story I'm going to share with you, I don't have a structure for this. I'm quite literally just going to recite in the best way that I can, without forgetting anything important, just recite the actual journey in the order that it took place for me. Okay. But I am going to be, I mean, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I think even if you're new to this podcast and you don't know me or haven't worked with me yet, you'll probably begin to get a sense of that. I'm very open. I'm quite an open book. I wear my heart on my sleeve. The person at the bus stop will become my best friend in a matter of moments, as if I've known them for years. And that's very natural for me to do. It's not forced. It's not staged. It's not for any ulterior motive other than that's just who I am. And I always have been ever since I know. But with that comes a level of authenticity and transparency and vulnerability. But even for me, what I'm about to share today is taking that to another level. So I may pause because some of this story is not just about me, and I don't think it would be fair to go into too much about the other people in here because it's not my place to share their story. But I will share enough with you to give you context, right? Okay. Enough with the mystery, right? So, I mean, what is it that I want to tell you? Okay. So one of the words that I picked at the beginning of 2025 for myself. So at the beginning of the year, I like to pick a word, something that I've begun to do over the last few years, and I find it really, really helpful. And one of the main words for me this year was integrity, because I identified from doing work previously that this is something that I actually really struggle with. And I'm not okay with that because integrity is important to me. So my thinking brain saying, I want this to be one of my key identities. However, I'm not behaving and acting and showing up in life with integrity. So I made it one of my keywords. And honestly, for the first 4 or 5 months, even, I think actually up until May, I was doing a really good job of it. And I'd noticed where I was staying in integrity with myself and with other people. And I was really proud of the progress that I was making. But then this took a bit of a nosedive in May. And what happened is that I had a creative download to offer a free product to my community. And I am a ideas generating individual. I can come up with a lot of ideas when I'm in my creative genius, and I'm not necessarily supposed to act on all of those. So I have to discern which ones are for now or even for me or if ever, right? Sometimes they're just great ideas, but then I allow them to just, I send them back out into the universe for somebody else to pick up. So, and I'm aware of this. So when this download came through that I want to offer this particular free product to my community, I checked in. I made sure that it was aligned. I made sure that it's something that would be beneficial for them. They would really get some value from it. And it would be beneficial for me to do, not a waste of my time, not a distraction, actually valuable for me and my business. All of those things. And it was a yes, yes, yes. And the ideas and I just flowed out from me because I was in my creative genius and it was just really easy and really natural. And so I jotted down a rough outline of what this might look like. And it was like, easy, so easy to do, right? And I was like, great, okay, I've sketched it out. There's the framework for it. It feels aligned. It feels good. So go out there and offer it. I haven't got the complete product yet, but at the same time, my opportunity to offer it is like in 24 hours or 48 hours. So just offer it and then come back and polish it up and finish it and then send it out, right? And it's not a big product. It's not something that, I'm not talking about a course or a program that's going to take me weeks to put together. This is something relatively small and should only take me hours, if a few days at most. So I did this and I was committed to delivering this free product and I meant it, right? But when I came away after that event where I offered it out to the community and people showed their interest and said, yes, I'd like that. Thank you, Dami. That would be wonderful. I found myself in a very familiar place that I hadn't yet been in 2025. As I said, I thought I was doing really well with my integrity. It was a place that I'd been in previously in the last few years. And that was this resistance to put it together. When I did carve out time to put the PDF together, I was completely blocked. There would be no creativity flowing from me, and I would just draw an absolute blank. Or other things came up, or I prioritized other things, or I allowed distraction to get in the way. Or when I did finally work on it, I would rework something. So I'm actually not making any progress, but just refining like really minute details and getting caught up in those details. And I've been here before. This is familiar territory for me. And because it's familiar territory and I've done some work on it before, I know where a lot of this stems from. And one of these things is perfectionism. And I have made enormous progress when it comes to my need to be perfect in things. I have made so much progress over the years, and I'm very, very proud of that. But this highlighted that I've still got a long way to go still. And I hadn't made as much progress as I thought I had. And unfortunately, because I've been there before, and this is where you may relate to this, feelings of shame and guilt started to creep in. I was ashamed because I was out of integrity with my word. I was feeling guilty for not delivering what I said I would deliver. I began to doubt my ability to ever be in integrity, to ever get this work out. And these are also emotions that I'm familiar with when it comes to this context and this scenario playing out previously in my life, in my coaching business. And it is specific to my coaching business, which is really interesting. And I've also done work on that as well. And I recognized what was going on, and I'm like, no way, not again. Like I thought it would be different this time. I so desperately wanted it to be different this time. And I really believed, because I was doing so well up until that point, that it would be different this time. And part of the strategy was, if I offer something and I mean it with all my heart, and I want to give it, and I do want to give it, I really do. I want my community to have this product in their hands because it will help them. Then once I've made that commitment, the thought behind it was, even though I haven't fully created the offer yet, I will deliver it on time to the deadline that I've said that I would, because I don't want to let them down and I don't want to be out of integrity. So offering it before I've created it was a way to motivate me to get it done. But that got thrown back in my face, because the stories and the wounds behind, which I'm going to dive into in a moment, but the stories that are behind on a subconscious level, the beliefs that were preventing me from finishing this free guide, just far superseded the motivation and the thinking part of my brain. So even though I thought it would motivate me and kick me into action, it actually had the opposite effect. It couldn't supersede it. So then I ended up in this really murky place. And can you see what is happening here? On the one side, I'm trying to dissolve and release and let go of old programming that does not serve me, that holds me back. Let's just say it's attached to perfectionism for now, right? It is, but it goes deeper than that. And I'm going to unpack that with you in a moment. But then on the other side, because I'm not delivering it, and I'm generating this shame and this blame of myself and doubting myself, I'm on the one hand trying to release subconscious beliefs that don't serve me that hold me back. And then at the same time, I'm generating new ones. Maybe not as deep rooted, but generating new ones nonetheless. And actually, these are starting to take deeper roots within me because it's not the first time, it's not the second time, it's not even the third time. It's a pattern. And they're starting to really dig their claws in me. So it can come up really, really quickly, those triggers, those emotions. And I'm trying to get rid of one and I'm just replacing it with something else. So this just isn't working. I decided this time, so that was back in May. I've been carrying that guilt and shame and the blame and the doubt with me for months, all through summer. Summer has just been beautiful but mental. And yes, on one hand, it is an excuse. I'm not going to say could. It is an excuse. Yet on the other side, summer really was a squeeze. Like there were so many time-sensitive events and deadlines that had to prioritize. But then I did again. I offered another free product to my community in summer. Again, it was aligned. It was this beautiful creative download. When I was in my creative genius, I ticked all the boxes. Yes, it would really be helpful to them and it will work well for the business. So it's good for everybody. It benefits everyone. And I did it again. I was like, no, this time I will. And I'll get them both done, right? And to the people who I've been out of integrity with for months now, they're going to also get this other one as well as a way to say, I'm sorry I've kept you waiting. And it's hard. Initially, like it would be embarrassing. And the temptation is to lie, make excuses, but I'm not going to go there. I am fully, fully honest and transparent with my community, hence why I'm doing this episode right now. And I think that's really important because if I can't be honest with you, then that means I'm not being honest with myself. And also I'm trying to continue this facade, this mask that I've got it all together. I've got it all figured out and it's all easy for me. Well, it's not. It's messy for me as well. And I'm going through my own wounds and my own stories and my own subconscious reprogramming all the whilst I'm coaching and teaching and sharing it with you as well. But I'm also going through this journey. And I think that's really important to know, whether it's me or somebody else that you work with or look up to or listen to. And so the other day, just a few days ago, I just had enough. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. Enough is enough. What on earth is at the bottom of this? And I thought I knew. And I thought I had got to the root of it. But clearly it's still sabotaging what I'm trying to create. Sabotaging my ability to adopt a new identity and keeping me in an old identity that I don't want. And I was just like, I've had enough. I've really just had enough. No more of this. And so I sat down and I like journaling. Journaling is a great way for me to process my thoughts, to get those downloads from my higher self and get really clear and answer my own questions. You may do that in different ways, taking a walk, etc. And I'm going to read and share with you some of the things that came up for me. So, and I'm going to, without going into too much detail, I'm going to share with you this process. So I mentioned perfectionism. Now, I've been working consciously with the idea of putting things out 70% perfect is done, is perfect. Yet with these PDF downloads that I'm offering, I realized that I was working towards 300% perfect is perfect. Only then can I then put it out as my first draft, as my first offering. And initially it was like, but it's because I want them to have the best experience. I want them to really get value. I don't want to miss anything out. I want it to be something I'm proud of. I want it to be to the standards of something that I would want to receive. And those are all very valid things, valid reasons. But I knew that wasn't the truth. I knew that was masking, or those were the surface level reasons. There was something more underneath, something deeper at play. And I started looking at, well, okay, where does this perfectionism come from? It's like, well, that comes from my mum. I was always raised by my mum to do things really well. If you're going to do anything, do it properly, Dami. And she's always taught me that. And again, I don't think that's a bad quality to have. Don't half-ass something. Put all your effort into it and do it as well as you can. That's good. It's good advice, I think. But then I started to unpack, why was that? Where does that come from in my mom? And there was many different threads that took me down. And for the most part, it's just me piecing together parts of a jigsaw puzzle that I don't know if are in fact are true, nor will I, nor is it my story to unpack. But I went back a little bit to better understand where these core wounds were originating from. Like, why does my mum do that? Why? And she still does that. And she's relentless, and she doesn't go easy on herself when it comes to this. And she doesn't go easy on anyone else either when it comes to this. So, like, it's a real, there's a wound there. There's a wound behind this. And so I started unpacking that and, thought, okay, it could be this, it could be that, could come from here, etc., etc. Then it took me back to my childhood and I've been here before, but I felt like I peeled back another layer this time. I remember, when you're little, you need the approval of your parents. You seek that because you're still making sense of the world, and you're so impressionable in those early years that whatever information is coming into you, it is programming your beliefs and how you understand how the world works. But as a child, you look to your parents for that love. You need it. You need love. And sometimes love can look and take the form of celebrating who you are and your achievements. And so I would come home from school really excited. Mum would usually be in the kitchen getting tea ready, and Dad would usually be in the living room, and I'd come into the living room first from school and really excited about something that I've done at school and waving my work in front of his face like, Dad, look what I did today. And I'm just feeling really proud of myself, right? And I'd wave it in front of him and put it down in front of him. Look what I did, Dad. Look what I did. Just waiting for him to show and demonstrate that love through his celebration of what I've achieved, to say that he's proud of me, to say, that's great, that's really good work, or whatever, just to give me his approval of what I've done, to support what I've done and share my joy. And before I go any further, I just want to say my parents are wonderful people, right? And they've done an amazing job, and I've grown up in a really loving household for the most part. It wasn't perfect. Of course, it wasn't perfect. I don't think there's such a thing. We're talking about perfectionism. Of course, there isn't such a thing. But we had our can't think of the word that I'm trying to that's at the back of my mind there. There were things about my childhood and how I was raised that I would have preferred were different, shall we say. But for the most part, compared to how a lot of other children have to grow up, have grown up, and the circumstances and the conditions in which they grow up, I had a very comfortable, cushy, happy, loving family, right? I was surrounded by loving parents. I had food, I had shelter, I had everything that I needed. I had a big family network and a community. I was well cared for, well looked after. So no complaints, right? But our parents aren't perfect either, and they're carrying their own bags and stories from their childhood and beyond. And so I know this now, but as a child, I didn't, right? And it was my dad's reaction was penetrating very, very deep into my subconscious level. And he would be like, yeah, okay, it's okay. I've now come to learn that when my dad says, yes, it's okay, that's the highest level of praise you'll ever get out of him. That means he thinks you did it well. He will never say it's good. He'll never say, wow. He'll never say, that's amazing. Well done. I think since I've become an adult, I've occasionally heard him say those words. And when he does, we'll all turn around and look at him like, did those words just come out your mouth? And we'll have a little giggle, right? And he'll have a giggle because it's a running joke now in the house. Dad's just not capable of praising anybody or anything that anyone does. And it's fine. We're able to laugh at it on a surface level, but actually, without him realizing, he's instilled these deep wounds within me through his reaction. But sometimes, if I was lucky, he'd say that, yes, it's okay, like really flat. Yes, it's okay. But more often than not, it would be some kind of fault or criticism. That you could have done that. You should have done that. You could change this. And my heart would just shrink as a child. All I wanted was him to celebrate my work with me, want him to say that I'm proud of you or well done. And he never did, and then he never could. And I looked back and traced that back as well and where that comes from. And I have some suspicions about where that comes from. Again, I'm not going to divulge that because that's not my story to share. And again, it's my interpretation of it. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I did do that. I did follow that thread just to gain a deeper understanding for me. And so then I would take this piece of work and I'd run into the kitchen and I'd show my mum. And thankfully, at least one of my parents had a complete opposite way of responding, and she would be all hugs and smiles and be like, wow, and animated, wow, this is beautiful, Baba, this is great. And it would get stuck up on the fridge if it was a piece of artwork, and she would just celebrate with me, and she would say how wonderful it was and how proud she was and how happy, the joy that it brought her. But in this, I mean, I'm so grateful that I had that through my mum. But in this, I never stopped trying to gain my father's approval. And I would be lying if I said that I've stopped to this day, because I know the truth is deep, deep down inside of me. And I'm still doing this work, obviously. I haven't got to a place yet where I no longer seek his approval. I do. I still do. Even if I make him a cup of tea, I'll put it down in front of him and I'll be like, how's your tea? Good. Okay. I mean, he doesn't say good, does he? Okay. Just okay, Dad. Why, what's wrong with it? What can I do differently? No, it's okay. Yes, it's good. Right? And I don't put as much weight behind his approval like I did when I was a child, but there is a part of me that still waits for it. And I continue to do that. And as a child, I believed if I just could do it better, if I could make it excellent, if I could perfect what I'm doing, then he'll tell me that it was good. Then I'd get his love and his praise. But he never did, and it was never good enough. Did you hear that? I was never good enough. That was it. I am not good enough. I am not good enough. This is a core wound for so many of us. For different reasons, obviously. We all have different upbringings and stories. And so I started to unpack this more. And I realized that I attach my value and my worth directly to my work and the quality of my work that I deliver. But this is not true. We are, each and every one of us, inherently worthy and have value just by being alive. We don't have to do anything to be worthy and have value. Our worth and our value is not associated or linked to any material activity that we conduct. There's nothing in this lifetime that we can do that changes our worth and our value. But how we perceive that is where the blocks are, where the misalignment is, where there are these stories that are not true, but they come from my childhood wounds, so I believe them on a subconscious level. I'm telling you, they're not linked, and that's my thinking brain. My prefrontal cortex understands that they are not linked. But deep inside me, on a subconscious level, I still have the two linked together. And so that led me down a whole trail of, well, what does that mean if it's not excellent, if it's not perfect? People might reject me. They may question my authority. It may ruin my reputation. They may not get the value that I promised them. They may not enjoy it. They may think it's crap. This. And it came down to like, I'm not qualified to share and teach this. And that was interesting. Why am I not qualified enough? Why do I doubt this? I have a qualification as a certified life coach. Not to mention the 25 plus years of life experience practicing yoga and meditation and being on this path myself for more than that. Living, breathing this as a way of being for more than 30 years. How is that not experience? How does that not give me enough to be able to then go out there and share with conviction? Of course it does. Again, my prefrontal cortex knows this. But something inside is saying, you're not quite qualified enough. And what was interesting is that one of my last jobs that I did, or the last business that I ran, I didn't have any official qualifications as a chef. But I ran a food catering business with my husband. And I have been cooking for about the same amount of time that I have been practicing yoga and meditation. So since my late teens, early 20s. Yet when I gave you my food, when I cooked my food, nobody would be able to criticize it. If I knew it was good, I would stand there firm in my confidence and say, this is damn good. If you don't like it, then that's just a preference. But it doesn't mean my food's not good, because I know it's good. And it was unwavering confidence in what I was delivering in my product. I know I'm a damn good cook. And that will never change. No, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I'm not seeking anyone's external approval there. But for some reason, in this coaching business, I've got so much of my power outsourced to other people, wanting their approval. Just like I did when I was a little kid. Wanting my dad's approval. And so many of us have this in us because it's unfortunately a way that society operates and functions, the structure. Our parents have already demonstrated. Like even though my mother's approval was something I needed. At the same time, again, it came from so much love, and might be sitting there listening thinking, what a great mum. And yes, she is a great mum. But at the same time, there was damage that she did by giving me that approval. And this is something that I try to do with my daughter. I don't do it perfectly, of course, but it's something I endeavor to do. And I try to do with her is I try to first ask her, do you like it? What do you think when she brings home some work? Are you proud of yourself? Trying to empower her and show her that her opinion supersedes anybody else's. And even though I have got an opinion and I will give it to you, it doesn't actually matter. But that's not how our society operates. And then this is further conditioned into us at school, where we are praised and rewarded for succeeding at things and accomplishing our tests and, achieving certain results. And all that external approval we get from the teachers and then maybe from the classroom, the other students, it just goes on and on and on and on, and then into the workplace like that. So we continue to have this unsatiable, hungry need to be told that we are good, that we are capable, that we are worthy, that we are deserving. But the truth is, and this is what it really comes down to, all of this journaling and peeling back of the layers, is that I have to learn. I have to learn that I don't need anybody's external approval. I need to learn to love myself exactly as I am, unapologetically. To do me unapologetically. Irrespective of what that looks like or what other people think, as long as I am operating from an aligned place for me, everyone else can go to hell, whether they like it or not, or want to be a part of it. I need to come from that energy. Do it for me. Do it because it was a genuine, beautiful moment of creative genius and a download from my higher self. And do it without any kind of expectation of what other people are going to think, how it's going to be received, what the results of that are going to be. No, just do it for the pure, creative, generative process, and then put it out there and let it go. Let it go, knowing that you did what was right and you did the best that you can with what you have right now. And with that, as I went through that process, it was like, okay, so what am I going to do about it? Because it's all great having these realizations. That's the first step. Or one of the first steps is to do this work. And this is not easy work. I'm not even going to pretend that it is. I've been on this path for a long time. And this is deep inner child work. This is deep shadow work. And not everyone will be ready to go there. But begin to start to peel the layers back. Begin to go back as far as you can. And one of the things that I realized was like, okay, so I'm going to have it up on my board where I work. So when I'm doing the work, to have a reminder that this is for me, not for anybody else. That's one thing I can do, sure. But also to create these, when I have these beautiful creative downloads, to create these products in the moment. Just create them. Not for anyone, just for me. And then if I want to offer them out, I can. And if I don't, I don't. Maybe I'll use them in 2 years' time. Maybe I'll never use them. Maybe I use them for myself. But when I'm creating it for me, there's no pressure. And it just comes and the creativity just flows. As soon as I'm put the idea that somebody's on the receiving end of this product, there's all this pressure that I put on. And then I can't receive any creative genius from my higher self. And so then even when I've got it open in front of me, I'm just staring at it, blank. Nothing comes to me. Because I'm putting this expectation behind what they want, what will serve them. And I'm not saying don't come from a place of service. Of course, come from a place of service, but I'm talking very specifically here about how I'm going to try to overcome this particular block of perfectionism for me when it comes to work within my coaching business. Now, you might be one of these people saying, yeah, I was one of those people you promised one of these PDFs to, Dami. I hope you have the grace to give me some time. If they are still in the making, I promised you. But I hope you can also understand that I didn't just offer something to you just to get your email address and get you on my email list, and had no intentions of actually sending something out to you. That this is something I think about and have thought about every single day since I made that promise. And that this has been a difficult process for me. That this is bigger than just putting something together on the computer and hitting send. And so I hope you will give me some grace. But above all, if you can relate to this in your own life, in something that you're doing, I want you to give yourself some grace and time. Because this work, as I said, is not linear. And it will come back again and again and again, and different layers will get peeled away. But you have to keep the work going. One step at a time, one step at a time. It doesn't get any easier, but you do become more familiar with your own patterns, which make it easier to stop quicker and notice what's really at play. Becomes more noticeable and easier for you to push aside the excuses. So then you can do something different. And maybe, you try a particular method and it fails. Like that, me offering it out, I thought that would be a really good way to overcome this. That was my aligned action, but it didn't work for me. Didn't work for me. That's okay. So I'm going to try a different way in the future. Let's see how that works. You just got to keep trying something new. Keep trying something new. And then finally, this morning, just now before I was going to press record, I wrote all of these things down. And I usually, almost every morning, do a small little burn before I start working in the office. But then I thought, actually, I really want to share this with you because it's a good conclusion. And this is a good first little step of reframing. So almost like a summary. I wrote down all the things, you can't see them here, but I wrote down all the things that I want to release and let go. So that is the language they are written in, okay? And then I'm going to burn these. I'm going to call in the support of the elements, the goddesses, the universe, whatever you believe in. Just call in the energy to help you transmute. But when I transmute things that I want to release and let go, I always offer the polar opposite of what it is I then want to call in. So this is what I want to get rid of and what I want to transmute into based on this story, this conversation I've just had with you. My self-worth is tied to the value I deliver and the excellent, perfect quality of my work. I transmute that to I am worthy and I have value just by being here, just by being alive. It is independent I am worthy and valuable exactly as I am. I am not good enough. I am so good. I am better than I think I am and realize I am good enough. I am not qualified. I am overqualified. I have so much life experience to bring and share. Shame and guilt. I burn away shame and guilt and transmute it to I am only human. I am also on this journey. As long as I am transparent and authentic and honest, it's okay. I am trying my best. I am doing my best. And I burn away resistance and transmute that to joyous energy to take action from a place of fun and love, just for me. So, got my candle here. I've got my safe little pot that I'm going to burn in. I'm going to let it go right here with all of you. And this is something that you may want to do. It's a practice, like I said, that I do on a daily basis, which I love to do every morning. Make sure you are doing it safely. There it goes. And then just as it is burning away, normally there's some big things in there. Normally it goes on, it lights up really quickly. This one's a bit reluctant today, so I have to give it a second light. It's going to also burn a little bit of Palo Santo to help clean the energy. I've been talking about it in this room. There you are, it's all gone. Talking about these things. I'm going to get rid of the energy now. There's no place for it in my life. I do not want it. I do not invite it. I want to let it go. There we go. Okay. Just go all the way around my aura. I hope you found that useful. I hope you are able to see that there is no perfect way of doing this work. It's messy. And to just be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. If you do things wrong, supposedly, or not quite the way you hoped, or you thought you were making progress and then you feel like you've taken a few steps back, know that that's okay. That is just part of the journey. You're not fallen off. You're not doing it wrong. It's just part of the process because more layers are ready to be peeled. More layers are ready to be released. And above all, don't go creating more new negative beliefs about yourself while you're doing this work of spiritual development, because then that's just counterproductive to the work in the first place, but so easily done in the example that I gave you. So reclaim your power. Love yourself. It really is at the core of all of this. Easier said than done, I know. Reclaim your worth. Know your value. Hold it strong inside of you, so no matter what happens around you, the people, the environment can't influence and impact how you feel about it. Because as long as it remains in their hands, it will forever be in flux. it will forever be turbulent. People will always like what you do, love what you do, hate what you do, reject what you do. That will always continue. But if you have a strong sense of your worth and your value, and believe in yourself and know how worthy you are, know how good you are, know that you are enough, nobody can take that from you. And that's the work, isn't it? Okay, beautiful people, have a great week. And thank you for joining me. I shall see you back here next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Higher Self Mastery. If something landed, moved you, or sparked a shift, I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and share this episode with a woman in your life that is also ready to rise. And if you found value in today's conversation, please take a moment to rate and review this podcast, especially in these early days. It really helps others to find this work too. If you're craving deeper support and sisterhood, join my mailing list using the link below, where you'll be the first to receive free meditations, learn about up-and-coming retreats, and other ways that we can work together. Until next time, honor your truth and trust in the timing of your becoming.